Hi, and welcome back to Between the Benches, your go-to for all hockey news. My name's Austin,
And my name's JJ.
and today we're going to be looking at the series between the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Tampa Bay Lightning. First round of the playoffs. Really excited that we finally got here after everything that's been going on, and it should be a great series between two teams that played against each other last year. So let's just hop right into it.
Starting us off with the Tampa Bay Lightning stats, they went 2-1-0 in the postseason, giving them the second seed overall in the East. They had 6 goals for, which was 19th, and they let in 8 goals, which was 8th in the league. Their power play was 40%, which was first in the league, and their penalty kill was 90.9%, which was 5th in the league. Their coach is John Cooper, and I bet every single player on the team is very excited to get their redemption story against Columbus from last year.
Yeah, it definitely looked good on all aspects, especially that special teams. 40% power play is pretty insane. Hopping over to Columbus, out of all the play-in rounds, they're the only one that went the whole 5 miles. They went 3-2 against the Toronto Maple Leafs, making them the 7th seed. So they'll be again playing the second seed in Tampa Bay. They had 12 goals for, putting them 7th. They had 10 goals against, making them 12th for goals against. They had a 0% power play. They really could not get their offense going with the special teams. Kind of a big glaring weak spot for them. Hopefully they can change things going forward. Penalty kill was 84.6%. Pretty good considering, 5 games against the Maple Leafs, such an offensive team, to keep them to, such low on the power play. Pretty impressive, and then that really reflects on their coach, who is John Tortorella, workhorse of a coach, really got the team moving, really motivates the guys, and the guys responded well to that for sure. And we're going to hop on over to more stats.
Starting off with player stats, for the Tampa Bay Lightning, in their short amount of games, the leader for them was Tyler Johnson with 2 goals.
It's pretty surprising for sure. Tyler Johnson's not really considered that much of a sniper anymore, but 2 goals is pretty good in the short amount of time they had. When we look at the goal leader for Columbus, we have Dubois with 3, helped by that hat trick that he had against the Leafs.
A very impressive win, to be sure.
Yeah,
A very good game for him. For assists, we did have a 2-way tie between Killorn and Point. They both had 2 assists in the 3 games that they played.
Yeah, and then when we look over at Columbus, they also had a 2-way tie. They both got 3 assists with Atkinson and Savard, both really stepping up and doing their part.
For the Tampa Bay Lightning, for points, it was a 3-way tie with 3 points each for Tyler Johnson, Killorn, and Point. Obviously, in 3 games, especially with their power play being as successful as it was, they're just not going to be that many points in that amount of time.
Yeah, and when we look at points to Columbus, in 5 games, Atkinson have 5 points. With a team that plays the way they do, it's kind of expected that someone will have about a point per game, but they're really more a wear and tear kind of team.
For goalie stats, Tampa Bay had their main man playing in Vasilevsky, who's pretty impressive with a 2.29 goals against average and a save percentage of .921. So it looks like he's ready to play, and hopefully the rest of the Tampa Bay Lightning are as well.
Yeah, out of all the categories in this list, I think this is the one that for sure Columbus takes a landslide win in. Korpisalo in 4 games played, he had a 1.45 goals against average and a .956 save percentage. And he got pulled in one of those games too. So really with numbers like that, that's just insane, being able to shut out the Leafs twice. A lot of that goes to the defense, obviously, but when you watch the games, even when Columbus wasn't playing their hottest, they definitely could rely on Corpy to be the guy to close the bridge against the Leafs and really be that brick wall.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge important piece for them. So I wonder if Columbus isn't going to keep on that momentum against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, one interesting point will definitely be that they can rely on Elvis for sure to step in. But Tampa also has a McElhinney who can definitely be that playoff warrior. And talking about different playoff warriors, we're going to hop right on over to our next part.
Starting off with our players to watch for this postseason matchup, for star player for the Tampa Bay Lightning, I have Nikita Kucherov. He's been a star for them the last couple regular seasons and is definitely going to want to be that star guy this postseason.
Absolute superstar in the league, to be sure. Guy I picked, not necessarily as big of a name, but definitely played like a superstar in this season. Cam Atkinson really had a good playing round against Toronto, as a point per game, and I think he's going to be the star to watch against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Absolutely. For something to prove, I put Braden Point. The reason I put Point is because I believe he's going to want to prove that he can be a number 1 center, especially if Stamkos might not play. Point's already trying to prove that he's a top-class center in the league, and he's going to want to push for that number 1 job.
Yeah, absolutely. Point really does have a big weight on his shoulders for the series, being that big dynamo, especially with Stamkos out, and he definitely has a point to prove in these playoffs. Going to my something to prove guy, I picked captain Nick Foligno. He said before leaving for the bubble to his family that anything less than a Stanley Cup would be a disappointment. He's taking this very personally every series. He's taking it to heart. The weight of the shoulders are on him. He feels the whole world really. He really wants to be that captain for the Columbus Blue Jackets, especially after how everyone left the team. And so I think he has a lot to prove, not just to his family, but to the league, to himself, to the team, to the coach, just everybody. And I feel like he will really step up to the plate this series.
And a perfect example of that passion he had was definitely when he was yelling at the refs after he got that penalty against Toronto, which cost them the game.
Really, no one's safe from the wrath of Nick Foligno.
For rebound player, I put Tyler Johnson. I know he's leading them in goals right now and tied for points. But the reason I put him is because he just hasn't been the top quality player that he has been in years past. And I definitely think for his sake, he's going to want to bounce back and help his team beat the Blue Jackets.
Arguably has as much to prove as Braden Point, because Point stole his position in the second line center, moving him to third. So I really feel like he's going to want to, strike back at Point for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get some points on the list. Who I have for my rebound is I have Gustav Nyquist. He was kind of brought in as a replacement for Panarin and Duchesne, and obviously you can't really replace players like that, especially Panarin with the season he had with the Rangers. But he had a really good year for Columbus, but in the playoffs he didn't really do much. So I think he's really going to want to have a rebound in this series, show that he can also step up to the plate, be a playoff warrior, put up a lot of points, and really help out the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, for sure. For playoff warrior, I put Maroon. The reason I put Maroon is because he's just won the Cup with St. Louis. He is a tough hockey player, and he's definitely going to be out there throwing his body around, sacrificing everything to prove that he is a high-quality player.
Yeah, as he said himself, he's a big boy, but he's effective at what he does. For my playoff warrior, I picked Seth Jones. Captain said that Seth Jones is one of the best defensemen in the league. Coach said I can play him, 36 minutes a night, however long I want to play him. I think they're obviously, being a little facetious, but he really showed that he can be that workhorse. He can play Thomas Chabot minutes. He can do anything. And I think that they're going to use him in all aspects, especially to play a team like Tampa Bay. He's going to be out there for penalty kills, power plays, even strength. And I think he's just going to be the biggest playoff warrior we'll watch.
For Young Guns, I put Zarnak for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is 23, so he's not the youngest member that I would have put in this series. But because he has only played 2 seasons in the NHL and hasn't really jumped out as a starting defenseman yet, I do believe he's going to be that young guy who's going to make a big jump in this postseason and show off what he can do.
Yeah, really interesting about Zarnak is he's so young yet so physical and mean, and so he's only going to get better as he gets older. And competing for a spot against Bogosian is going to be huge for him, I think, in his development. The young gun that I picked was Liam Foudy. He kind of made the roster near the end of the season when a lot of guys got hurt, showed that he was all right. And in the playoffs against Toronto, he didn't have a lot of points. But the key thing that I have with Liam Foudy is that John Tortorella put so much trust in him that he had him playing on the first line with Dubois and Atkinson. And so for a young guy to get that kind of trust and respect from, John Tortorella, such a hard coach, I think it's huge for them. I think it's extremely important that Liam Foudy was able to play those minutes. And I think as a young gunner going forward, he may not put up the points in the series, but I think he's going to be that workhorse that John Tortorella loves in his kind of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting to see how all these players do.
Yeah, so with all that information and more, we're going to go to our picks for this season.
For our picks, I've decided to go with Tampa Bay in 6 games. I do believe they're going to get that redemption story from last year and beat out the Blue Jackets. I just believe the star power on their team is going to be too much, although I've underestimated the Blue Jackets before this year alone against the Maple Leafs, and I certainly did last year against the Lightning as well. So I could be proven wrong, especially with Stamkos potentially not in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm also going Tampa Bay in 6. Although I am a big fan of what Columbus has done, what they've done without their stars, I just look at Tampa Bay. They're so lethal in every category. They added more from last year. You got guys like Barclay Goodrow, who, they don't have those demons that the Tampa Bay Lightning might be carrying in a redemption kind of story. And while Korpisalo was just this absolute monster in the playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think Tampa Bay is going to hit him with better quality shots from more high danger areas, and they're just going to really pepper him to the point where he's going to break. I can see kind of them stealing a couple games with Korpisalo, maybe even throwing Elvis and stealing a game, but I just think that all these new guys that they brought in are really going to be vicious. They're going to have a lot to prove, and Tampa Bay is just going to smoke them in 6.
I'm just very excited, no matter which way this series goes, to see more John Tortorella post-match conferences. I think those are fantastic, and I can't wait to watch all of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can't say at this point. It's going to be interesting for sure to see which team goes in the direction after the series, how the management's going to make decisions based on if they win or lose.
Yeah, especially for Tampa Bay. I mean, if they lose here, there's going to be some big changes coming, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely a do-or-die series for Tampa Bay. I think if they beat Columbus, that'll be a bigger win than the next couple of series leading up to the Stanley Cup Finals if they do make it that far. So that's our pick for this round. Let us know how you guys think and leave a comment down below with your series predictions and any other comments and questions. Thank you so much. Hit like and subscribe, and please tune in for some more hockey news.